Hello and welcome back to the smoke room. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after basically spending the entire time in the basement trying to wait out a fire, which unfortunately is not going to be contained because we all know what's actually happening right now. Gretchen, which is Murdoch's mom, and his father decided to go out and try to, coordinate, but they didn't return. And that kind of signaled the people that were seeking shelter in the basement to get out because it's not gonna be contained anytime soon. The group consisting of Samuel, Murdoch, Ralph, Cynthia, Jim, Neil, and Ruben have decided that they're gonna stick together and seek shelter elsewhere, which is the hip, while Holly and what was her name? Rowena Burns, which is Murdoch's grandmother, have decided to go to their house and hopefully just wait it out there. Whether or not that's a good thing, we don't know. But we kind of know more or less what's going to happen in town. So, yeah. I expect to see that soon. Anyways, but yeah, so what else? Everyone seems to be more or less wanting to stick together, despite the fact that Ruben and Neil are sort of like, ugh, we don't want to, but I guess. But what are you gonna do? These are the townsfolk. They're the ones that know more or less the town, so you might as well stick with them. I mean, even Jim, who technically lived in Echo for a while. I mean, I guess he's as much a part of Echo as everyone else. Even he defaults to the fact that these people are probably the best people to stick with. So yeah. Anyway, so let's continue this update. Finally. Christ almighty. Just how much shit does that guy have that would make that much smoke? If I had to guess, it's mostly just the interior structure that's making up most of it. Even small buildings give off a lot of smoke. Don't any of you remember the press? I do. I was coughing for weeks. And just multiply that by about 30 if they don't put out the fire. Why aren't they, anyway? Don't they have systems in place for this? You'd think so. The mansion is on a hill, so they might have problems with the water. They had better not, considering all the plumbing tests that they made me do. He speaks. What do you mean by that? I mean that they had me conduct more soil tests than I'd like on the bedrock of the hill, just to see where they could install pipes without breaking the foundation. They definitely had running water on the top of the hill. So why didn't they put it out before it got that bad? Makes one think, doesn't it? I'm mostly thinking insurance fraud. How about anybody else? For his sake, his burns better be authentic. You're so funny, Neil. Nothing about this is remotely funny. The rocks beneath our feet crunch as we walk for a while without any of us speaking. Well, we change walk directions just a bit as a trail of tumbleweeds passes by. If he botched insurance fraud, then at least it would be funny. Wind whistles past my ears. I think I hear a train whistle. It's enough to make me look at the tracks, at least. Even from a distance, it's impossible to not to see the crimson stains against the white pebbles. Hey, y'all? I point. What's that stain over there? Jim's lip curls in disgust while Ralph crouches on his knees, squinting to get a better look at it. There's another one a few feet away from it. Another in the opposite direction. That's fresh blood. A lot of fresh blood. They're both right. It's unmistakable. Maybe that's why the trains aren't running right now? Did an animal get run over? 3 animals. Right. Those are splatters from clean cuts. Too far apart to be dragged by a vehicle. Revolting. Barely. I see blood every day at work. Hard to avoid gore when you hunt. I suppose that explains why Jim always skipped the Brookhaven hunts. It's a bore. If you are adverse to the chase. Perhaps. No matter. We can partake in something of a more delicate nature when we reach the hotel. Shall we go? We let them walk in a bit ahead of us. Whoa. Yeah. They're friends, right? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. People who have had money for a long time will spend a lot of time with other people who have had money for a long time. Even if every aspect of their personality suggests that they shouldn't stand one another. I doubt that they're used to creature discomforts. They're probably discovering things about each other that they never knew under stress. That isn't unique to the rich, but when you're born to receive almost everything that you ever wanted, I imagine the opportunities to learn through struggle are rare. Nobody asked you to make an excuse for them. I'm not excusing them. I just find it ironic that people crave comfort, but that it predisposes you to be worse at some things. I'm just thinking out loud. It's harder for me to stop thinking about those stains on the road. It's not ordinary behavior for the three vermin to just sit and wait to get sliced open on a train, but nobody else seems curious enough to talk about it out loud. We keep on following the roads and the tracks until we come along the first row of townhouses. There is a small crowd of people at the crossroads where one might turn towards the mine and the Hendricks Manor. I presume that they're officers at first, considering that they have uniforms and they're standing on the opposite side of a wooden sawhorse with the words blockade printed on the wood. But their uniforms are beige and their caps are rimmed. What's the National Guard doing here? Clearly not enough if the fires are still cooking. Excuse me, sir. The white cat strides up to the nearest man in a uniform that he can find. Could you please inform us on the nature of anything going on right now? Feels like hell in a handbasket. A bull with a severe look in his eyes adjusted the position of the gun on his back. There has been some trouble up on the mines. What kind of trouble? I worked there. 'Twas a ride, I'm afraid. He gives Jim a slow look over. You look a bit overdressed for somebody who works at the CSCG. It's my wedding day. Very sorry to hear that, sir. Mind if I ask what kind of work you do? Fuck's sake, I'm just a scientist. Educated, huh? That puts some ease in the officer's tone. We have some good reason to believe that the insurrection caused the property damage at the top of the hill. When he says that, I can't help but think that I haven't heard from Nick in weeks. He was a quiet client, but always reliable. Always kind. I can't help but hope that he's alright. He isn't. Our best men are on the top, putting out the flames, so never you worry. Forget the damn fire. We just want to get on the next train out of here. While this is happening, something unbelievable occurs. The frames of two small figures in dresses slip from out behind a hopseed bush. They walk past not one but two rows of soldiers with guns, slipping underneath the first set of blockades with hardly any effort. They look damp and covered in mud and dust. The first I don't recognize. The second I do. So long as there is a civil unrest and considerable property damage amok, we don't think that it's a good idea for people to be coming and going if they're responsible for the damage. I'm still watching the girls as they pass through the second row of blockades. One stumbles a bit with her steps and holds her stomach with one paw. The one with dark fur shakes a floppy cactus leaf in one hand and waves a switchblade in the other, but the other girl emphatically shakes her head. The dark-furred cat rolls her eyes, holding the cactus leaf in her mouth while she closes the blade. And who makes the call? That would be my superior officer, sir, in joint agreement with your mayor on the matter. He's not my damn mayor. We don't even live here. Me, Murdoch, Ralph, Cynthia, and Jim all watched the two girls go through the third row of blockades unnoticed, once again not drawing any attention. If Neil or Ruben see it, They don't even bother to mention it. They're already far more worked up over the trains than anything. Hey, what are those two over there doing? Who? The girls are almost a block away, not stopping once to look back before turning down an alleyway. Those two girls. They came out of nowhere. I don't see two girls. Only the ones on the side of the fence. Not our problem then. And if you see those young'uns, you tell them to not mess around here again. You hear me? That's none of our concern. Why don't you direct me to your superior officer? Sir, I'm sure that you could talk with him all night until your nose turned blue, but until this site is secure, I can tell you that what standard protocol will be. Standard protocol doesn't wait for life. I am a very important surgeon with a schedule to keep, and I am not stretching the truth when I say that lives will be at risk if you don't put me back on a train before the night is up. Jim is wincing from secondhand embarrassment, and Murdoch is looking away entirely. Ralph looks like he should be eating popcorn. Cynthia isn't even here anymore. I see the trail from her skirt and her tawny tail disappear as she turns a corner. Excuse me for just a moment. I keep a quick pace just in case of the possibility that I'll lose track of her, but I see her back pretty quickly when I make a turn. Are you girls all right? You stay back, lady. We're fine on our own. Cynthia crouches down and beckons forward. I ain't gonna hurt ya. I doubt that you could if you tried. Cynthia exhales. Okay. And what might your friend over there think, She's exhausted and can barely speak. Cynthia, what? You again? Oh, hell no. We don't need any help from the flute-playing bimbo or his fruit fly. Oh. Cynthia sounds surprised, offended, and disappointed in equal measure. Then she looks at me. How does somebody her age know you? Sometimes you'll act like I don't go outside. I mean, not where the kids are. She asked me for a favor and I forgot about it because of Holly's stupid wedding. You ought to call her Miss Burns or else I'll tell her. Yeah, you go ahead. You really got me there. Cynthia lowers her voice to a hush. Sam, you should know better than to argue with a girl her age. That's not a girl. That's a demon. You gonna cry, Mr. Ayers? I ain't even got anything against you, child. I just want my damn money. Who said that's your money? The deal was that you helped me find Melissa and take down the guy hunting her, if you wanted that double eagle. Girl, that was my double eagle you found. That's so. Then what the hell was somebody like you doing in the tromping grounds? What's the tromping grounds? Blythe ignores her. It's not like most people even know how to navigate it, much less find it. It wasn't him, Blythe. He didn't sound like that. Don't care. I still want to know. He better not have been using my hideout to tryst with other gentlemen of the back door. Oh, wow. Cynthia sounds like she's in shock. She said far worse herself before, but I don't think that she was prepared to hear it from somebody this young. First of all, that's none of your business. Second of all, wash your filthy fucking mouth. Third of all, my friend Nikolai Kroll works there, and he shows me around from time to time. I fucking knew it. So the tromping grounds... The mines? Tunnels between the mines. They go all sorts of places beneath town if you know how to use them. Huh. Cynthia rubs her eyes. Hey Sam? Then abruptly she stops. Why would Nick need to show you the mines if you just used the smoke room back at the hip? We had memories there. I used to work there once. She looks at me in a way that I rarely see. I'd almost describe it as somebody looking at you but trying to see what's behind your eyeball. It's not a comfortable look. It's just... What? Never mind. Excuse me. Mr. Ayers? I blink, almost forgetting that the rabbit is here, but I snap out of it quickly and acknowledge her with a nod. Is the Mr. Kroll that you know a big badger with white stripes in his face? What? You know him? Her eyes widen. Blythe, that's the man who helped us. You can't be serious. No, Blythe, it all lines up. You spent half of it already. Just give Mr. Ayers back his money. We might need this money to keep you safe and get you healthy before we go looking for that guy. Can't y'all just go home? Clean clothes and a warm bath will do you better than you think. You think that we would have if we could already? That's the first place that fucker will look. You can stay with me for a while if you need it. And where exactly do you live? The Segura's Hip. Oh. The fancy whorehouse. It's a little more than that, but if that's what you want to call it, then yeah. You realize that the guy we're hiding from probably goes there all the time, right? If he's the kind of sicko who gets his kicks for free, why spend any money? Practice, maybe. Those are unkind thoughts. That's the way the world is, ma'am. Well, if he's there every night, and he's a local, then odds are that he'd need to be pretty wealthy, which pares down the likelihood of frequent visitation some. I guess. Do you want to hide in my room or not? Blythe looks at Melissa. Just for a little while. She reaches out her paw to the rabbit and the girl takes it. You know, I'm pretty short, so it's possible that you might just be my size. Melissa nods, her hands trembling. Hey, Sam. I'm going to take them back to the Hip a little early. I don't think that it's a good idea to wait much longer without getting this girl some hot water. No need to wait. I won't get lost on the way. All right, just come and find me when it's time to check in the others. I'll make sure to let Dora know that they'll pay top price for a spot. Don't let them argue too long with the guard, if you can help it. She walks away with the two girls. I spin in the balls on my feet, turning the corner again, to get back to the Murdoch, Ralph, and Jim's group when there is a shadow blocking my way. I hadn't seen those sharp golden eyes in some time. Afternoon, Sam. Hope you didn't mind me eavesdropping. I'm on a little bit, actually. I thought that you'd be too busy to see considering whatever the hell is going on right now. I had to make sure a shootout between the miners and the guard didn't happen is what's going on. Why is the guard here in the first place? Because the mine's management thinks the workers have been too rowdy. What do you think? Mostly I think everybody ain't acting great. CSCG could be doing more to cooperate with the law and ease the minds of its workers, but they're only gotten more aggressive with their grind. Finding that dead body in the mines has somewhat expedited things. But as far as I can tell, that's how it's always been in the town below the surface. Sounds to me like there's a whole lot of dead bodies now, not just one. He crosses his arms and stares me down. There are. So why keep bringing up that one dead body that y'all found weeks ago? Believe it or not, there's a whole lot of people who think all the problems will go away if we dispense justice to whoever killed that miner. They're wrong, of course, but that's what the mayor thinks now too. Then again, who knows how people will act just going about their lives with the right ideas about justice. Suddenly his shadow seems a bit bigger. Why were you down in the mines with Nick 2 weeks ago? I know what he's doing. You heard what I said to Cynthia and the girls? Me and Nick, we had memories. You and I both know you barely work those mines a week. Cynthia knows it too. It's a shit job in a shit place, and you made it known that this is how you felt. Meeting Nick was the good in it. There were others too, but those faded with time, or disappeared altogether. Why don't you answer one of my questions now? He's still staring me down. All right, ask. Why can't you just ask Nick if you really want to know? Because I don't think that I'm going to see Nick again. I thought as much when those girls said that they ran into him. You don't work alone when you mine. He was up to something else. I don't think that he's been taking risks like that if he intended to stay in town. How do you know? Because he told me last night. I blinked for a moment. Was he looking for me? He wasn't. But why? He didn't want to make it hard. Said you'd make happier memories and better places with time. Do you know if he's safe? I know that he wasn't at the rally when the National Guard arrived, if that's what you're asking. But if you took a train out of town last night, there's no damn way to follow up on that. At least, not for now anyway. I think right now I'm mad at Nick. It's not like he owed me a goodbye, but I can't just forget all the times that he paid money just to hold me. Something else had to be going on. Eventually, I might find out what that was. But right now, I'm thankful for that anger, because I'm gonna use it to lie. He proposed to me. Wanted the place that he picked to be special. Willem takes a cigarette out of his mouth. What, like marriage? Yeah, marriage. He takes a big puff of a cigarette. Inhales especially slow. Exhales especially slow. He regards me with those piercing eyes. Well, Nick's not stupid, so I might imagine that it meant some kind of way outside the law. What did you say? I said no. I catch something change in William's expression. It almost looks like relief. Shit. That must have hurt him. Not as much as when I took a stumble in the dark. Lost my footing. Still, his pain might have been worse. Frankly, even if I could talk to Nick about this, I probably wouldn't. Exactly. It's not like you were the poor bastard that they found with a crunched skull, or else I'd be tailing Nick. But this business with the guard is ugly. Are you going to be fine in a few days with my paws tied? I don't know, William. You're stronger than you know, Sam. I mean, just your body alone. He looks out to Murdoch and the other men who still look like they're arguing with the guard. Not everybody has what you have. Pretty soon that there might be a time when people are going to have to rely on that strength. A lot of folks I know are expecting the worst. Then do your best to not be one of them. People can only act worse when they panic, you hear? I hear. He pats me on the shoulders. Then he turns from me, steps a few paces, lifts his arm, and calls out to the guards at the barricade. As William stalks away from me on that sandy road, I can tell by the lash of his tail that he feels an itch which goes unscratched. I think that he understands that he's reached a dead end with his interrogation of me over that particular dead body. And that's very good for me, at least. Murdoch is taking pictures of the barricades while Ralph sits on a crate, still watching Neil and Reuben go at the man in the uniform. We can probably head over to the hip now. I saw you come from the same direction as Sheriff Adler. Did he explain what's going on? He just told me that the tensions at the mines got a lot worse. Seems like the mayor and the guard don't want anybody getting out of town before they catch the arsonist. Murdoch turns to me, clicks a button on his camera, then slides a knob with his digit. That might explain why the streets are so empty. Doesn't sound like much of a plan for a city built on tunnels and a lake annexing rivers. Maybe they think that they have them cornered. I wouldn't bet on it, considering all the ways that you could escape from town without the train. I make a double take when the rat says that. Are you saying that you know ways out of town? Of course. He grimaces. You didn't think that I stocked all my goods by train, did you? Well, all things considered, we'll all most likely be showing up for work tomorrow like usual. Even with all the barricades and the military men crawling around? He shrugs. Things have been worse. And it's not like I have anywhere else to be at the moment. If it's a slow day, then they still have to pay me by the hour. I wouldn't anticipate a slow day if the guard starts coming for us for their supplies. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that I'm going to take these two to the saloon before they start a shouting match. I don't need to shout when the right tone is sufficient. He was completely ridiculous. I'll lead the way. You remember where it is? I can see it from here. Just checking. We were there just yesterday. Don't test my intelligence again. Reuben whistles and follows along. In fairness, it was just yesterday. I thought the gentry were supposed to offer little treats when the serving class was helpful. Oh, please. If I made others feel half as put upon as they do, Echo would have skinned me by now. That sounds like something the gentry might say. Jim regards Ralph for a moment. Don't you have Murdoch make you coffee each morning before you can get out of bed? Ralph looks enraged. A French press makes 2 cups. It's more efficient with only one of us in the kitchen at a time. It just makes sense. You might want to wean yourself off the stuff if you can't rise without making Murdoch hand-deliver to you like soup for his grandmother. There are healthy alternatives. I hear water's all the rage these days. Ralph stands up. Anyway, I ought to get settled in our rooms if we have to hunker down for the night. That woman will let us book without your presence, right? I'm sure she will, but I'll be along soon. Don't be too long. Neil can be a handful when he's in the mood. Jim follows the footsteps of his companions towards the saloon, and it isn't long until he disappears through the front door. Why the hell did you tell him about the coffee? I think you're right, though. It does make sense for only one person in the kitchen at a time, and I couldn't drink too. Shut up, Murdoch. I think what he's saying is that maybe you can make the coffee first. His cups are stronger. Ralph's stern expression doesn't change. Regardless, I don't think Holly's wild ride needs to know anything about my business. I don't think that I've seen a man win a spar as hard as Jim just had ever before in my life. Well, I'm sorry that he was rude, but should we keep everybody waiting? We need to start planning about how to get through the night. I want to check the house to see if Dahlia is there and pick her up. I scratch the back of my head, where it still hurts sometimes. Are you well, Sam? He's giving me a look, which tells me my emotions must have looked aggressive. You really want to split up right now? I won't feel comfortable making any plans without knowing where Dahlia is gone, or what she's up to. Holly said that the first place that she'd stop is a house. And I see her there every day. Surely I'll be fine. Besides, Grandma will be with her anyway, so it's not like she could pull theatrics even if she wanted to. Why don't you go with him, Ralph? Murdoch is a big boy, Captain Ayers. I think he could brave the horrors of his childhood home. Murdoch turns his back. He's already walking. I'm serious. Something could happen. That goes for any of us who travel by ourselves. Need me to come and hold the white of your tail, Murdy? Fuck off. And there you have it. He makes a gesture with his arm wrists before he takes a step backwards and bows. Malomori quam fodari. I don't know what the fuck he just said. Bless you. Just let him do what he's going to do. If it says that it won't be long, then it won't be long. How long is it won't be long? The fuck if I know? 20, 30 minutes or so? I'll give him 25 to get back to the hip. That's funny then. You didn't strike me as the needy type. I'm not needy. Maybe you just loathe the prospect of spending any one-on-one time with me. Yes. You didn't even hesitate. I know. Why don't you tell me how you really feel over a pint if we have time to spare? You buying? What, you can't even afford your own drinks? I have a tab that comes out of my pay for a discount, but he doesn't need to know that. I don't exactly have leisure money to squander. Think about it this way. If everybody does end up killing one another by tomorrow, you'd be awfully upset not to drink because of spare change that you died before you could use. Or you could pay for the drink. Since you're being difficult. He sighs. How about I pay for it this time? You pay for me next time. How do you know that there's going to be a next time? Then you don't have anything to worry about. Now come along, I can't bear to be sober for another moment. His long legs make his stride quick. I can barely keep up with him as we head our way into the saloon. When we make our way inside, the tall red ears of a squirrel are pointed back at us. "Aye, Mr. Ayers. Cynthia said that you'd be underway, love." I don't know why I expected to see Cynthia at the front desk, considering that she's working the wedding today. Scarlett's Caledonian accent sounds particularly thick today. "Said that she's ready to see you whenever you're ready, but today, not a rush." We're waiting on somebody else to get here first. Did our, gentleman party of 3 manage to book a room? "Aye, though they were lucky to. Only the presidential parlor, and that one's almost never checked out. Though I can't for the life of me figure out where this booked on a weekday." "Did you hear about the manor?" "Aye." "And the trains?" "Aye." "Then that'll be it." "We've had worse." "I keep hearing that." She blinks and nods, repeating herself. "Aye." "Ain't worried at all?" "To speak plainly, sir, I'm proper unfazed. I'm not one for speculation that causes more harm than good, nor giving strangers more good than harm if they don't know my pay grade, if you know what I mean." She shrugs. "Till we know what's what, then all I plan to do is bunker down." "You going up with him?" She changes the subject, looking at Ralph. "Lord, no. I'm just here to get drunk." "Let me lend you a seat then. I'll set you up a tab." He said that he'd buy me a drink. "A seat at the bar it is, then." She grabs a folder beneath the desk and guides me and Ralph over to the high stools. "What'll it be?" "Where's Harlan?" "Obviously somewhere else, not being paid. If I saw him again, he'd probably ask the same thing about you, considering your other endeavors last week." "Now, what'll it be, lads?" I take a look around me. For a saloon that's booked, it feels odd that Benton's playing to a mostly empty house. Everybody must be shuttered up in their rooms. He's paying, so I'll have whatever he's having. "Just a pint from the tap. Any brown ale will do." "Good choice. Hearty, but not too rich." She's quick about the pour, placing 2 glass mugs beside us. "By all means, don't be afraid to ask me for more. Since we're fully booked, the only way that we're making money tonight is from the tap of the bump, and if fellas are shy from the former, I have very little faith about the latter." Let's just assume that it's going to be an odd night." The squirrel shrugs and returns to her station, straightening some folders beneath the counter. I sip some of my beer. I don't love the taste, and it takes a lot of the stuff for me to feel much of anything. I should have ordered whiskey instead. Politeness be damned. "You want to relax?" That's what I'm trying to do. "I mean, you just gulped down half a pint." "I won't feel it much. I'll relax when Murdoch is back." "You really are scared of that Holly?" "You ain't?" "I've known her much too long to think her scary. I respect her much in the way that I respect sharks in the ocean. You leave them be and they won't take a bite out of you. Probably. Though I bet you'd be tickled to know that we used to be friendly." I put down my glass. "You heckling me?" "No heckles in sight, I'm afraid. She was in charge of watching Seamus that day." "What day?" "You know what day. July 4th, 1905. But she really wanted to go to that party." "And you didn't?" "I had no reason to socialize with Jim Sterling. I had eyes on another fox at the time. And I had need of one of Holly's legendary favors, as was her way in bargaining of things." He sips his beer and doesn't look at me. I sip more of mine in kind to pretend that I don't pick up on the bitterness or that I don't feel a new twinge of possessiveness, even for something that happened a long time ago. "So, who fucked it up?" "The friendship with Holly, I mean." He puts his glass down. "I didn't say that we were friends. I just said that we were friendly. But we both did. She lost sight of him by handing him off to me. I lost sight of him by picking the wrong game." "The game where you lose sight of people?" "The game where you hide your flag in a goddamn log and hide in a goddamn tree, not hop onto a goddamn boat." The music stops briefly. You all right over there, gentlemen? Just a hearty dose of rage, darling. Aye, some nights that's just the way to be. Need something stronger? Why the hell not? Bourbon, if you please. For the both of us. I'm not turning down the free bourbon. Scarlett comes over to fetch a bottle and new glasses as Ralph drains his beer, looking a little less stiff. You mentioned that you did this for a favor? Watching the brother, I mean. Ralph shuffs as he's poured a glass of much stronger stuff. What, you want to know? I don't need to. I take a sip of my bourbon. It's real smooth. But I'm curious now. He twirls his drink, then sips, then puts his drink down. I wanted her to quit the piano. I snort. That's specific. If she quit, her parents would let mine buy it off of them. Then I could practice whenever I liked at my place instead of hers. He takes another sip, bigger this time. I'm sorry that didn't work out. No, it did. I got the piano. She had quit the music anyway. So did Murdoch, or so I had thought. Turns out that he just turned to picking away in private rather than performances. These days I think he just does it to impress other boys. He gives me a strained smile, then downs the rest of his glass. At least, that's working out for him. But yeah. I'm not scared of Holly. If she's anything like her brother, she still feels guilty. The guilty struggle to be ruthless, at least from my experience. But then again, I hear guilt is something that you can bury. I might be underestimating her again. We hear a small thud as Scarlett brings out another pair of glasses. I don't mind you getting sloshed, dear love, but I can tell that you're already there, so have some water. Then she walks away. The rat glares at the newest glass. He taps his long fingers on it, letting the nails click for a bit. Then he holds it over the carpet, tips it slowly, and pours it all out. Oh, so clumsy. He stands. I'm gonna piss off and wander around mindlessly a bit until misfortune makes me remember how to think. You just enjoy your drink. He hobbles away with a stagger. I check the clock in the hall. It's only been 15 minutes since Murdoch left. So much for killing time with the conversation. I don't want to leave Ralph alone, but I figure he's not dumb enough to go outside by his own, even drunk. Cynthia said that she's ready to see me, so it's probably best not to keep her waiting if Murdoch is going to turn up anyway. I drain the last of my bourbon, feeling the heat in my cheeks and my core, then get up. I'm ready to go up, Scarlett. Just gonna clean up first. Right, don't worry about your glasses. I will get them. I mean, I know where the kitchen is. Please, Sam, I'm bored out of me skull. I refuse to question that, leaving her to it. My vision slants just a bit as I climb up, since I'm at the stage where I'm just a bit giddy but not exactly tipsy. When I get to the door, I knock with the back of my knuckles, just 3 raps. One moment. I hear giggles on the other side of the door as it opens with a squeak. Took you long enough. She lowers her voice. Get in. I move in and Cynthia shuts the door quickly. There's giggles again. I see the bunny girl sitting on Cynthia's bed, but she's buried almost up to her neck in pillows. Lucy is there painting her nails an Easter egg blue while Cynthia gets back to putting curls in the girl's ears. The hell are you doing to the child? Oh no, he's not gonna tell, is he? No, Lucy, he's not gonna tell. She just needed a hot bath and a little bit of love is all, Mr. Ayers. You don't mind none, do you, Miss Boke? The rabbit, who looks more pillow than girl right now, looks like her soul has already ascended to heaven. Nah, I don't mind. Now look at the pretty little smile. That smile would turn the winter season, it would. She's got spring shine dimples. I don't have time for this. Where's the other one? The door to Cynthia's ladies opens. I see a wetter, cleaner-looking Blythe still wearing the expression as mean as it was. I told you I'm not giving you the coin. You think that I'm stupid enough to expect you would. You look pretty damn stupid still from where I'm standing, so yeah. I'll, come back later. Miss Lucy, the bottle. You keep that, little sister. It's a much better color on you. She slips out the door. You're the one who knows the tunnels, right? Sure do. Sure as hell not going back until we catch that bastard. What if we have to go back through him? What if there comes a point where we don't have a choice? Like hell anybody has to do anything. We'd like to have a plan, Miss Washington. Why don't you listen to what Mr. Ayers has to say? 'Cause you're the one who's helping us, Miss Sosie, not him. I'm asking you to listen to him right now. You want respect? You step up when you have a responsibility over others. How does that figure? 'Cause you know something that might save our lives if we need it. If we don't, then that's fan-dumb-tastic. But I don't intend to let any of us die in this shithole if I can have it any other way. You hear me? Hard not to with a mouth that big. If I have to take her back into that godforsaken hole again, it'll cost you dear. Then name the price. Another double eagle. Another? I don't want to go back there, Blythe. He's poor, Melissa. Don't you worry. Cynthia takes my wrist and leads me to the corner of the room, lowering her voice. I was going to offer to pitch in, but I don't have that kind of money, Sam. You think I do? You're the one who told her to name her price. There's another fellow in the group who knows that tunnel some. He could get us to the lake. Does he have a boat? Don't know. Then, is that even really an option? If that isn't an option, then there might be a way to pay her. There is? Jim's friends are exceedingly wealthy, and I don't have the impression that they'd like to die. I'll come back if I can get the money. But if I can't, we'll figure something else out. She turns around facing the girls. Right. Mr. Ayers is going to see about getting you that money. You really think that he can, huh? We'll just have to see. Until then, why don't you help me with those curlers while her fur is wet? Yes, ma'am. I slip out again, closing the door as quickly and as quietly as I can. My paws slip into my pockets as I walk towards the direction where Jim's friends are staying, but as I'm walking towards the door, I have to stop. It's opening. Jim and Reuben slip out, looking sour. He's inconsolable. He doesn't want to be here. Hell, I don't even... Room service is here. Oh. Hello again, Mr. Ayers. Howdy. I'll be back very soon after a quick trip to the privy. The cat walks past me with a walk that's very telling about the state of his bladder. Jim puts his paws in his pockets as well. Are you here to tell us something? It's a hallway, Mr. Sterling. Folks walk here. A pastoral activity. But really, what do you want? Here it goes. Your friends had the right idea about the service. I'm not remotely in the mood. Nor feeling charitable with you. Sounds like your friends are aching for a distraction, though. If they are, then it won't be my business. What I need now is time for myself. If they do make use of you, just make it quick. I'd like an opportunity to relax inside of my room tonight. He takes off hastily. He's right about the quick part, mostly because I'm still expecting Murdoch. I don't think that I'll have enough time to approach the both of them. If luck is with me, I won't have to. Okay, so, I'm gonna pick Neil, because Neil is the one that is, more receptive to Samuel. Unfortunately, picking Neil also means that you're gonna have to do some, begging, if you know what I mean. So you're not gonna see that scene, but, I'm just telling you now. You pick Neil, and Samuel has to, be the good boy and help Neil blow off some steam. Emphasis on the blow off part. Judging by what the others said, the dog's the most irritable in the group. Sometimes irritable men are the easiest to please because they need relief most. I really hope that's a situation with him. The dog is in the room, sitting on the bed, legs spread, still in his bachelor party clothes. You again. I step a little closer, letting the moonlight catch me. They said that you were in the mood again. Excuse me? They're your friends. They know you better than me. The dog scoffs. Moods are for boys who don't get the Christmas present that they prefer. I'm an acting senator in the middle of a fucking death trap. I walk a little closer, watching to see if he'll let me. Mind if I sit with you in bed? He looks me over. Slowly. You sound like you want to get paid. I chuckle, just a bit, showing just one tooth. I try to make it obvious enough. He jerks his head to the free space beside him. Sit. I slip off my footwear, then bend my knees, slipping onto the opposite side of the bed, with him hearing the airy crunch of the clean white blankets. As I get close to his pillow, I smell that slightly oily, slightly sweet scent that canines have mixed with the clean woodsy scent of grooming ointment on the sheets. What if I told you that I know a way out of this death trap, if we can't take the train? He looks me over, face still stern. Then slowly he lifts a paw. He brings the back of his palm to my whiskers, my fur down, smoothing it to his liking. Mint is on his breath, and he's still sharp with the clean smell of that ointment and the chemicals that linger where brush off on me. I'm listening. His palm moves first to the bottom of my chin, then around to the curve of my neck. I'll need quite a bit of money to do it. Then he squeezes my throat. Not hard enough for it to hurt. You sound like you intend to earn it. Do you like this? He squeezes just a bit harder. It's firm. It still doesn't hurt. I like the strength of your grip. Good boy. He loosens some. How much? I can feel his entire attention on what must be the furrows of my brow. 1 double eagle. Suddenly the intensity is gone. His shoulders sag, his eyelids droop, and it looks to me like I'm an actor who just said the wrong line. Well, that's not really that much. I'm not sure how to parse that. It's more than a little bit to me. Now he just looks unimpressed. Very well. He stands up, sighing. Off the bed and on your knees. Let's see you low. It occurs to me that he intends to just start right now. And this is where I'm going to cut off. He plucks out a gold coin from his pocket and puts it in my palm, rather than on the floor. You really are an excellent sport. Thank you for clearing my head. It's my job, sir. He looks at the coin unamused. Don't patronize me. I need a way out as much as you do. Money in a disaster is so worthless, I might as well replace my coins with rocks. Though, I do have to wonder. What would you be willing to do for real money once we're out of this mess? For the first time, I think I see him excited. And I don't really know how to feel about that right now. I can't say for sure, sir. Most people can't until they discover their boundaries. He pushes something into my paw. It's some of his cleaning ointment. You probably need this. It could be a kind gesture, but it's probably because he doesn't want anybody to smell him on me. At least not explicitly. That's part of the thrill for some of them. Right. Thank you. He offers me a hand. I stare at it like I'm dumb. What? Handshake. Oh. I step in a little, grasping for his paw, and he grasps mine back. It's certainly a sturdy handshake, though I already know the strength of his grip. He pulls me in closer, pats me on the back as if he and I were entirely different men from the ones that we were 5 seconds ago, and then pats me on my back. I'll be here until you need me again. Right. Once I'm presentable enough to go, I close the door behind me as softly as I can. Once I'm freshened up myself from my services, I find myself wandering downstairs towards the bar. Ralph is hunched in one corner, nursing himself on what looks like a cup of hot tea. Jim is on the opposite side of the room, in the waiting lounge, eyes closed and arms sprawled up in the light of the window, his feet propped up on the ottoman. I check the clock again. Damn it, it's been an hour. Oh good, you're finished. Jim is rubbing the bridge of his nose. I hope you know you're pacing very loudly. I need to go. The doorbell jingles and I see the bat wing doors swivel. Timing be damned. Murdoch stands in the frame, frazzled and sweating. A wave of relief washes over me. You're back. She's not at the house. As he speaks, he's winded, sounding like he's talking to somebody who will listen. I didn't find her. I hear Ralph stand. He ambles on over to us, balancing against the wall with one paw. When and where was the last place that you saw her? It was last night. She showed up after the fight. Nobody speaks, as if just remembering Jim was in the room and listening. I should have known something was wrong when I didn't see her at the wedding. There were so many things to do. And she's so easy to miss. How about you shut the fuck up, Jim? Now's not the time. If I wanted to be petty, Ralph, I'd be talking about your sobriety right now. There's some venom in those words. But none of you notice that she does it on purpose? That one revels in blending in with the air. We're not asking for a character analysis, you musky fuck. We're trying to figure out where she is. Murdoch slides against the wall, staring out into nothing. For the first time, I can tell that he's about to burst into tears if things go on like this any much longer. Murdoch. I put both of my paws on his shoulders so that I can make him look up at me. Why did you go to the house in the first place? Because that's where she'd go. The house is where she'd go to be safe. Is that really where she'd go, Murdoch? He doesn't answer. Hey, keep up with me. You know her best, right? He nods, going limp in my hands. Now, is the house where she'd really go? Or is the house where you would go? He squeezes his eyes shut and there's a tear. It's where I would go. So, she'd never be there in a disaster, would she? No. So, what's the most important thing to her if she thought that there was going to be trouble? He wipes his eyes and clears his throat. She's at the school. I let him go, then look at Ralph. You think that's true? It wouldn't surprise me. The observatory is her life's achievement. I wouldn't doubt that she's protective. It's not safe for her to be there alone. It might be safer than here. This time, when Jim interjects, nobody decides to interrupt him. The elevation is one of the highest points in town, and the building is isolated on 1,000 square yards of property. Not to mention that there are bars on the doors and windows. Why are there bars on the doors and windows? It's common for schools. Children make for easy hostages. Parents like to make sure that they're secure. More like it keeps the kids from getting out. Again with the drama. Not everybody grows up with the posh boarding schools, Jimmy. Some schools more than others feel like a prison. Sounds to me like another excuse to be uneducated. Both of them had about a dozen more years of schooling than me, so I don't much want to hear them argue about this. Excuse me. I nearly jump when I feel the tug on my sleeve. Everybody stops talking at once now that we see the rabbit girl out of her room. What are you doing out here? She glances around the room without moving her head. It seems like she's going to give up saying anything at all, but then she opens her mouth again. I know I probably shouldn't be out and about for long, but I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about Miss Washington's attitude. She strikes me as someone who knows how to speak for herself, Miss Boyk. And yes, I suppose that's true. But just know that she's very protective of me. And she's very protective of herself and rightly so. We're too used to nobody helping. Neighbors, they're supposed to help because it's the right and good thing to do. But people out here, they don't do that. Well, most people, I mean. We're too used to that. Now, you listen here. I exhale and then crouch to meet eyes with her. Your friend, she has a right to be mad at me. I told her that I would help her when I should have known that I had other obligations. I got her that money. She seizes up a bit. You mean we have to go back into the tunnel? Maybe we don't have to. Mr. Ayers, I can't. Well, maybe you don't have to. But you can feel it coming, can't you? Like a whistle in the air that decides how slow your heart is allowed to beat. She looks around at everybody else's faces. Everybody here can feel it coming, right? I can't go back in those tunnels again. There's tears in her eyes now. I exhale again. Then I scratch the back of my head. But what if you could, with a big group protecting you? She opens her mouth again to say something. She's whispering. She heard a voice like a voice of doves, cooing all together. They sounded kind of full of loves, in pleasant weather. Then she grips my paw with a much smaller paw. Come by, was still their cry. Then her mouth closes. Let me tell you a secret. She wipes her eyes with her free paw. I don't much get excited for secrets no more. I nod, slowly, then try and think. I'm scared of those tunnels too. But every time that I walk through them, I think about them just a little bit less. If I just have to walk through them one more time, I ain't ever gonna do it again. Now, wouldn't that be grand? She nods. Then she whispers again. To cheer one on the tedious way. To fetch one if one goes astray. I stand up and she lets go of my paw. That help any, miss? Yeah. I think so. Good. I'll go back up to Miss Sosie's room then. That's a good girl. Give us a few and tell her that we'll be right up. Alrighty, sir. I see her walk towards the foot of the stairs. Then she stops, looking towards the long hallway below them. Mr. Ayers, where does that hallway go? That's just a laundry room and an office. Oh. I don't know why, but I don't like how it smells. Not sure what to say to that. She doesn't seem like she has much more to add, so she ascends the staircase. Was she slow? Murdoch shook his head. She memorized Goblin Market. That's not a short poem. Something terrible must have happened to her. Or else she saw something happening to somebody else. Jim clears his throat. Unless we're waiting for somebody else, I take this as to be the extent of our party. Murdoch looks out of the windows as if hoping to see somebody out there. Looks like it for now. Why don't you go get the boys and bring them over to Miss Sosie's room? Jim stretches his neck and arms as he rises from the chair. I'll fetch them. Just stand outside the door so that we know which one is which. He strides up the stairs quickly, his white tail trailing behind them like a duster. Ralph taps Murdoch's shoulder with his back of his hand. You and I both know that she won't be out there. But what if she needs help? Then I think that we know by now. She's a resourceful woman. We need to take care of ourselves right now, so be alert and help. You're right, yes. He says yes, but I know he's not entirely here. There is a part of him already up in space. Because God knows that must be where his younger sister's eyes are directed by now. When we ascend the stairs and arrive at Cynthia's door, Ralph and Murdoch slip inside first. Jim and his associates take a little longer to arrive. Why didn't everybody just come to our room? They said that it was the biggest in the saloon, less of a cramp. You offered, We didn't. I don't need any strangers rooting around my things. He says that like he doesn't want the paws of the lower class all over his possessions. But I feel that there's another reason. If I had to guess, he wants few people who can identify him as possible. We're already here. Reuben can bear it. I close the door behind him as the last man enters the room. Of course, Jim here doesn't mind a tight squeeze. Is that not everything for you with the pounds that you've picked up? So this is the gang that you round up for the end of the world? Oh dear God, it's a baby. How young exactly do they bring them up in? I hear the rush of wind and a dull thud before the shouting. Oh, sweet Mary, Mother of Jesus, she swiped at my face. Disrespect me again and the next one won't be a scratch. Look, I'm bleeding. I'm actually bleeding. Bleed over there if you must. You already know that I'm not good with blood. Cynthia hands a tomcat a kerchief. This will help with the bleeding, Mr. Reuben snatches a cloth from her paw. Alcohol as well, if you please. Right then. There is a bottle in the cabinet below the vanity. Enough fucking around. Where would we plan on going if all hell breaks loose in town? What makes staying in the brothel such a bad choice? We're comfortable here, plenty of food and drink. Did you see those saloon doors? Ain't no way to stop a crowd from looting this place if a mob overtakes us, and if we barricade, then they will just make them want to get in more. The old Potter's Field is an option. A cemetery? Ain't nothing for nobody out there, and if we need to change locations, there's multiple escape routes. I'm in favor of camping the train station. They'll have to be the surest way out of town eventually. And if I can find a conductor to have him lend me his ear, then I have no doubt that he'd find a new resolve within himself to get those engines running on time again. We had mentioned the school is both isolated from downtown and fortified, right? Murdoch. Everybody just said a moment ago that that's a good place to hide for a while, even if I don't find her there. If nobody else had the idea first, maybe. I have the keys. What about the tunnels that lead down to the lake? Don't you have a boat out there, Ralph? Not one that holds that many people. He has a boat? Which side of the lake? Down east. Don't. Down by the old lake house, I'll bet. You've been using my old property to push again, haven't you? You're not so good at imagination, Jim. What's he pushing? You should really stick to rocks, Jim. Sterling's is still on the deed of that property. Yet what a dump it's become. I wonder why. You sleaze. Cynthia chimes in, voice clear and as cold as rain on an autumn night. So let's just say then that the lake is not an option. I hear the cemetery, the school, or straight to the trains. Am I understanding correctly? The noise of the general approval sounds about the room. Is anybody strongly opposed to any of these three ideas? No one dissents. So how are we going to go about making the decision? Blythe takes out something shiny from her pocket and looks at it, letting it glimmer in the light. A coin dragged me into this mess with them. It might as well dictate how we're getting out. All parties approve of leaving the final decision to the coin toss winner? Once again, no one dissents. We gonna go one by one? Not like we're in a hurry, is there? Let me go first against Mr. Ayers. I feel a smile creep across my mouth. Do I make you that nervous, Rat? Plenty, but I want to get this over with. Heads or tails, Mr. Rat? He studies the coin in Cynthia's paw. Heads. She flips. She catches. She reveals. Very sorry, Mr. Rat. Sam stays in the running. I'll go against the girl. He points to Blythe. I don't give a damn where we go, mister. Take the free win. Miss Washington is out by default then. Sam, will you flip for me? Against who? How about Mr. Sterling? I'll pick tails then. I'm fine with that. I flip the coin. I catch it, then reveal. Jim wins. He nods quietly and Cynthia exhales. Me next? I'll go now. Tails. I do the routine. Neil wins and Melissa sits down. I'll take on the brother. Murdoch stands. Me? Is there any other brother that I could be mentioning? It's just a coin flip, Reuben. We're hedging our bets on distributed probability. That crossed my mind, but the way you're speaking... Tails. Flip the coin now, rent boy. I leer at him a little as I flip. Then catch the coin. Then reveal. You win. Damn straight. I'll go next. Give the coin to the fox woman. I do, as she wastes no time in flipping. Tails. I was gonna call tails. Speak faster then. Cynthia reveals. Sam wins. Both Reuben and Neil look grim when they hear that. Tails or heads, Reuben? Don't you think that you should be picking the lion? I don't have a problem with who wins at this point. But I'm just curious between who of the two of us will win. Tails. No hesitation? Cynthia flips, then reveals. Mr. Sterling wins. The cat balls up his paw and beats on the table. Was that really necessary, Jim? I was merely curious. It wasn't even likely for you to win. The head side is heavier. But it was likely for the tails to keep winning that many times in a row. Well, why wouldn't it? You tend to hone in on the smaller picture. Probably for the best, for a surgeon. The fox loses interest in the frustrations of his companion and then looks to me. Heads or tails, Mr. Ayers? Tails. He looks at me with some curiosity, then laughs. Also no hesitation. Why overthink a coin flip? Tails' side is lighter. Cynthia flips. Tails wins. That settles it then. Jim, why didn't you call first? Did that matter when I went against you? But you lost. No. I wanted to see how Mr. Ayers acts under pressure. Reuben shuts his mouth. That's all that I wanted to know. I'm fine with him picking where we choose to go. I feel the sudden attention of the entire room on me. I'll decide if the time comes. Until then, the plan is to wait out the night here. So you think that we're safe for now? Nobody's acting unusual, are they? Cynthia crosses her arms and chews on her bottom lip, like she's thinking. Not more than usual, I'd say. You mean apart from the murderers, Miss Sosie? Don't much recall those being normal. I presume that if somebody is a stone-cold killer, then that's how they're always gonna be. But Mr. Burns mentioned the City Hall archives talked about irregularities in normal folk. Yes. Hind emotions. The sudden intense loyalty to an in-group to disperse of undesirables within the community. Also over-aggressive, irrational proclamations based on fearful accounts that sound, by all means, that they could only be hallucinations. Anybody see any ghosts lately? That sounds more like it's describing me than any of these people. You're unreliable. The rabbit girl stands up. I saw things. You don't have to tell them anything, Melissa. She shakes her head. No, I really should. The killer in the mines. He was talking to a dead person. She looks around at each of our faces. Not completely surprised if he's deranged. But I heard him talking back. The dead guy. Oh, baby. You were down there for days without food or water. Anybody in that state might remember things that didn't happen. But this is before I waited. I had only been down there for a few hours at this point. And... She swallows spit before she continues. You know those big blonde tarantulas that crawl around everywhere and cluster when it gets cold? I feel something touch my back when she says that, and the faintest sound of a bug like hiss. But when I turn my head, there's nothing there. I feel a sudden sense of terrible anger that isn't mine inside of me when I look at the rabbit. And then the emotion is gone. But that cat girl's looking at me. I saw a great big ugly one inside the mines. Bigger than my whole body. And its limbs made out of people, and it smelled like death all over. It was the most awful thing that I had ever seen and smelled in my life, and I don't think that I'll ever experience something worse. It saw me too. It saw me and it was coming for me, but I don't know how to explain it much other than Mr. Ayers and Blythe felt like they were there with me too. But then the feeling of them was gone. And then, so was the monster. The lights in Cynthia's rooms flicker for a moment. So does that mean something's wrong with me? She looks around the room again, as if still hoping for guidance. Children tend to see monsters. The only thing unusual about this case is your age. Cynthia shakes her head. Nobody is too old to get scared and see things on occasion. But didn't Mr. Burns say earlier that people were seeing skinned animals come back to life? That's not possible. I didn't say that it was, but it sounds like a similar kind of story our friend Miss Boyke experienced. What about people at work? Anybody else acting off in general? Cynthia paused. Well, you. I feel each glance as the attention in the room shifts to me again. Working 2 jobs at once will do that. Fair enough, I suppose. Some clients have been more irritable as of late, but that's probably because of the riots. What about the madam? She's been around less, but otherwise the same. More tired. Then what about Harlan? Cynthia purses her lips. He's around a lot less. Ain't he supposed to be manning the bar today? Sure is. Have you checked his office to see if he's sick? He told me off the last time that I went near his office, so no. I stay well away. I don't know if I should bring up that Melissa said that there was a bad smell in the direction of his room. It dawns on me that Harlan was pretty old and pretty unsociable. If he got sick or something, nobody would be around to help him. Hey. How's this for weird? Everybody glances towards Blythe when she speaks up. She's looking out the windows. I walk up to see what she's talking about. Outside the window, there is a well-dressed Gila in a suit and spectacles standing in the middle of the road. He looks to the left, then to the right, then positions himself at the 4-way crossroads. As he turns, I can see now that his entire left arm is outstretched. There is a long silver chain that dangles from his hand. From the end of it, there hangs what looks like a sparkly rock on one end much farther than the other. Oh, that's a plumb bob. What the fuck is that? People use it to douse for water. He holds it out a little higher, and we can see it start to swing in one direction from its shadow. Then he starts to laugh. Why is he laughing? He turns around and looks at the floor level of the saloon directly below us. Then his gaze moves up, staring directly at where we are on the 2nd floor. His mouth opens and his eyelids wrinkle as his whole body hunches over in a sudden sadistic-looking heaves that almost look like they should be painful to his own body. He's laughing at us. Then he stops. He puts his chained rock back into one of his coat pockets. Then he walks away in the direction that his rock was swinging, as if he never saw us. I think that counts as pretty damn weird. No kidding. Did you see what happened though? Murdoch is so close behind me that I feel the tickle of his whiskers when he talks. Yeah, I saw. So did I. What do y'all mean? I'm asking, why did he look at the 1st floor first? Hey, Cynthia? Yeah, Sam? Ain't Harlan's office right below your room? She looks at me and then we start walking towards the door. Stay put for a moment, everybody. We'll be right back. I follow her out the door, closing it behind me. That man gave us a look like he knew something. You don't think Harlan died in there, did you? Why would you say such a thing? The girl said that it smelled bad. As we walk down the stairs, the air feels thicker. Usually, it's from all the people smoking in the bar. But the house is empty tonight. Scarlett is waving her face and coughing. Where the hell did all the smoke come from? I couldn't tell you. It started almost as soon as you two came. We start walking towards Harlan's office, the air getting thicker. What the hell is he doing in there? I try to open the door by jiggling the handle, but it's locked. Harlan, open up. No answer. There's smoke coming out of your room. It's filling up the whole first floor. Again, no answer. I turn sideways and slam my whole body against the door. There is a cracking sound. I almost expect the two women watching me breaking down the antique carved door to stop me, but they just watch me waiting for me to do it again. So I slam into it the second time and I hear it splinter. With the third slam, the door gives way to my body and the whole thing opens up. In front of me is an inferno of fire. Cynthia screams and Scarlett gasps as she rushes to the bathroom. I try to squeeze my eyes, trying my best to see if there's anything like the shape of a body inside, but the white hot flames lash at my face. All I can see is a pile of something that looks like it's been stacked way too high, and the inside of the windows that have been shuttered by the boards nailed into the wall. Scarlett rushes forward with a bucket of water, flinging it onto the flames, but the inside of the room is so hot that we can hear the water turn to steam. The flames lick the side columns of the doorway as they pour out of the room, catching the nearest curtains of flame. The flame is spreading faster than we can put it out, as if following a trail. It's spreading too damn fast. We've got to get everybody out of here. Cynthia screams, carried up the hall to make Ralph poke his head down the stairs. Oh, fuck. We see him disappear as the sounds of doors throughout the hip open. The people who had been hiding in their rooms start investigating the noises, then add their screams to the collective roar. There are shouts of fire. Shouts of who did this. I can't help but think the same, but my body has no time to dwell on my curiosities. Scarlett runs up the stairs, banging on the closed doors, waking up patrons in sleep or in the middle of an act, alerting each and every soul that she can before it gets too bad. I pass Lucy, eyes stuck with terror and beak agape. I pass Ethel, appalled, stuffing everything that she owns into a wicker woven bags as quickly as she can. Some of the other girls whose names I've never learned nor ever bothered to learn pass me, terrified and shrieking. It doesn't take long at all for the front entrance to become dangerously crowded. I find Ralph, Murdoch, Jim, his friends, and the two girls being shoved left and right, while people try to crawl over one another to get down the stairs. I tug on Murdoch's sleeve and jerk my head. He tugs on Ralph's sleeve. The others see this happening as we wade our bodies to the back of the crowd in the other direction. The back stairs aren't nearly as crowded, but the smoke is much worse. Hold your breaths. We make a chain as we run down the back stairs, past the stage, past the kitchen, and all the way through the back exit into the alleyway. Is everybody here? We need Miss Sosie still. I'm over here. Cynthia waves her arm from the other side of the alleyway. We had to. She's interrupted by shattering windows. We duck cover our heads, expecting to protect ourselves from glass or stray furniture being used to make other exits. But it's the heat of the fire that broke the glass. The whole inside is burning bright red within less than 5 minutes. What the fuck is going on? The hip's lost, Sam. We've got to get out of here. How's the hip lost? It's barely just been assailed. There's no way that a fire should be able to spread this fast. Somebody did this. My mind races to ask who. To ask why. It was Harlan's room that was set afire and bolted shut. But he loved Dora. What's the damn point in making himself homeless? Ethel knew that she was getting pushed out, but arson is a step too far for her, and even she looked surprised. Oh God. Sam, look, the post office. The front of it was covered in flames. The hip wasn't the only place on fire. I feel somebody grab me. Jim's golden eyes stare back at me, speckled orange with the light of the flames. All right, Mr. Ayers. You won the coin flip, so tell us where we're going. Paws off of him. Let him catch his breath. Ralph tries to push him off of me, but the fox holds to the side of my lapel. No. That's why we planned for this. We're going to the school. The school? That's farther away from the station than even here. You really think that the trains will take off when the town's in this state? I said the school. Come or don't, but that's where we're going. You able to get us there, Miss Washington? The cat holds out her palm. I pluck the coin from my pocket and place it in her palm without hesitation. Then she tucks it into her pocket. Yes, sir. Quickest way will be downtown. Follow me. Before the group's following the cat disappears into one of the deeper alleyways, I catch Cynthia speaking to Scarlett, who now has a handkerchief over her mouth. We're staying, love. The madam will know what to do. But the smoke. The frost of the Atlantic didn't do me in, and neither will some air pollution. I don't feel so good with all the smoke, Scarlett. Take Lucy if she could go, but I want to make sure everyone's out. I feel something tingle in my back. It's a tingle that you get when somebody's watching you. Murdoch is staring past me into the flames of the establishment. Hey! I run out of the way, hearing the click of the camera going off. Sorry, but people will need to see how bad things got here. With me and Cynthia in the picture? I just needed a shot of anybody for scale. I don't know how much time we have before the hip collapses. Y'all coming or not? There is a frightful noise as something inside the hip shifts, and a thick cloud of dust shoots out of the slanted door frame. Murdoch gets a faceful of it and sputters. Cynthia grabs the wrist of her friend, and I sling Murdoch's paw over my shoulders, following Melissa into the alleyway. The fire looks like it's spreading to other buildings. Cynthia already told me about the post office, but the flames look like they got into the cobbler and the boutique as well. It's gonna reach the townhouses too. A line of clothes is burning above us as ash from the shirt sprinkle down. How's the fire spreading from different directions? As we run past the house after house in the dark, I can see the high shadows of people running in one direction. I feel Blythe, Jim, and Ralph pass me as the first burst of speed catches up with the ache in my legs. Don't get too close to the road. Stick to the alleyways. We climb over a blockade of boxes and barrels, past wood-cutting tools and wheel spokes. The pathways are clear again until I get to an alley blocked by an old wagon with wheels. Blythe jumps, cutting the cloth down as she hops, running through the hood and out the other end. We follow her as the wind whips against us, past the ragged canvas cloth, past the slamming shutters and the howling chimneys. Our chests heaving, some of our foot wrapping bloodied with blisters. Until we stop. I see the hanging tree in the town square touched by flames. But the same can't be said about the town hall itself. There is a crowd gawking at it as people mill in and out, carrying briefcases of what I must assume is decades worth of documentation. As people fuss and shout and argue, none of them pay any mind that there is a figure hanging from the tree. He looks a lot like Cynthia, but the fur is all burned off on the front of his face. His body twirls, grinning a grin that's too big for his mouth, looking every which way. I know that he must be dead, but he looks as if he's celebrating. Back here. Blythe waves us over to the shed sticking out behind the back of one of the buildings. It has a thick padlock over it. It's locked. Blythe takes something out of her pocket. I hear the shots before I see them. The locking mechanism falls ajar. I help her tear the thing open, jerking it open to the side. The first thing that I feel is a familiar shift of pressure and the rush of air that feels like breathing. Blythe walks over to that big candlestick inside the window and pulls it close. Lighter? Anybody? Jim, Reuben, Ralph, and Murdoch all reach into their pockets. God damn. I just need one. Murdoch is the quickest to strike a flame. She tips the candle to the lighter and beckons forward. Don't stop unless I tell you to, even if you think that you see something. Because I will leave you behind. She steps into the shed, descending. Melissa follows first, Lucy and Cynthia guiding her downward. Jim and his friend follow, while me, Ralph, and Murdoch cover the rear. Blythe walks slowly enough with a candle in her hand that we can see the glow at the end of the tunnel, but she's walking at a pace that doesn't give any room for rest. She stops only once, compressing the straight line of our party as we wait for her to speak. I'm gonna tell y'all this only once, so you best listen. You come to a crossroads in the tunnels, you look for the paint markings. Yellow's the way to the school. Blue will take you to the lake. Avoid red. Now, I shouldn't even have to tell y'all any of this because we're just going on a way, and the point is not to separate. But God forbid something happens and y'all get lost, just follow the paint. But you're the one with the only light source. Well, that's too damn bad. All the more reason to keep close and not get distracted. It's about a 5-minute walk to the school from here. Surely you mean 10 minutes. Not this way, I don't. Now let's go. The light of the candle moves away from us without warning. She's hauling ass to get out of here quickly, all for her little friend's sake. It's far more loyalty than I'd expect from a girl like her. But I know better by now than to underestimate how close people get when times get hard. I take another step and then stop. Let me out. Pain racks me. Terrible pain, like my skull has freshly parted. Sam? Let me out. More pain. I must have screamed, but I didn't even hear it. Or was that somebody else? What's going on? There's something wrong. How the fuck is he? Just help me carry him. We can't lose sight of the candle. I feel something slip out of me. I think it's blood, but I can't be sure. Ralph and Murdoch get beneath one of each of my shoulders. Then I feel something terrible. Something much worse than pain. I feel the eyeballs of every stranger that I've met in my life all at once staring at me. They're watching the most personal things that I've ever done, shrieking. When I first touched myself. When I first touched another man. Then another. Then another. Jeers turn into disgust, then a roar of anger as I hold a shovel. I lift it up above my freshly bleeding head. To the hoots. To the hollers. To the mean, sick laughter ringing in my ear. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So a lot of stuff happened. The town is officially burning. The hip is gone. They decided to stick together and find a way to escape after they decided to go through like a whole coin flip thing. But yeah, Samuel won, and he's the one that decided that they're going to go to the school. And I'm pretty sure that this, while being based on the fact that the school itself is on higher ground and it is further away from what's going on than any other, I guess, place that they could have gone to, is probably being influenced by the fact that Murdoch is so worried about not being able to know where Dahlia is. So like, he's doing it because it's a good idea, quote unquote, but also because he knows that Murdoch wants to go there. So yeah, they're going to the school. Yeah. So we have several interesting facts though now that, I mean, let's first start off with Porter Moore. It seems that he may or may not have known what was going to happen. He seems to have probably been following, he probably was following the lines, the underground lines, the underground tunnels, which I guess you could call the tromping grounds, that probably connects the entirety of the town underground to the mines. And he was probably following them to see which building was going to go up in flames next. Whether or not he was doing this of a sound mind, we don't know. But it seems that he more or less either knew that he was aware of what was going to happen to the entirety of Echo, meaning the town, the buildings and whatnot, or he became aware of it through some other means. Since he is more or less like an information gatherer type person, he probably overheard it or something. Somebody probably told him as a favor. But yeah. Harlan is missing. So that's kind of suspicious. Like really, really suspicious. And he was also missing, I believe, in Nikolai's route. He's been missing, I think, in all of the routes. So yeah. That seems like an interesting thing to keep in mind. One thing that I would like to point out that I didn't realize until I was editing it is the poem that Melissa is reciting, which is the Goblin Market. It seems to be a parallel between her and Blythe, but also the dead girl that is found in the subterranean lake, where you see the spider monster a lot. And the poem itself, I believe, is about two sisters, and I think their names are Lara and Lizzie. And Lara is a young, spirited woman who is kind of naive, while Lizzie is a more grounded, more sort of... she's the more responsible of the sisters. Laura, I believe, no, Lizzie is the one that tells Laura to not look at the goblin men and their fruits and whatnot, like what they're offering. But Laura doesn't pay attention, and she ends up giving something of hers, which I believe is her hair, in order to taste the fruit. While Lizzie does not want to give up anything of herself, and the goblin men attack her. And if I recall correctly, it says that they attack her body. So, you know. But anyway, so, unfortunately though, I believe that Laura ends up almost dying, and Lizzie ends up basically having to put herself again in harm's way in order to save her sister. And the poem ends where they're old ladies, they're already married, they have kids and grandkids, and they're telling their grandkids, I believe, the story of how Lizzie saved Laura from the goblin men. And this poem is also referenced in an episode of Doctor Who. I forget which one it is, but it's where they're on like a planet with like a really radioactive star, and one of the girls, one of the passengers in like this ship thing that's like taking a tour of like this irradiated planet ends up reciting the poem, but like, what was the part where she would that she recited? It's, "We must not look at goblin men, we must not eat their fruits. Who knows upon where they laid their hungry, thirsty roots?" So like, if you ever heard that, or if you heard that part from Doctor Who, then this is that poem about two sisters. Also, if you recall, the only reason why Melissa was in the mines was because she went looking for this other girl, one of the girls that used to hang out with Melissa and Blythe. And even though she didn't really like her, or it's not that she didn't really like her, she kind of felt she had conflicting feelings about her, but like, what type of, well, no, maybe not, maybe not those type of feelings, but like, she had feelings for this girl who like would bully her and whatnot. Like, it kind of seemed like she was giving sibling energy. And to me, it kind of felt like these three girls, meaning Dead Girl, Melissa, and Blythe, were sort of like three siblings, three sisters. But one of them dies. One of them almost dies, but is rescued by Blythe, who is sort of like the parallel of like Lizzie, the girl who ends up saving Laura in the poem. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, like I found that interesting. And yeah. What else? I think that's the gist of it. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? Even though we know more or less what happens to the town, I am interested in what's happening with, the Murdoch route. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play the Smoke Room yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which will have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it yourself. They do have a subscribe star in case you want to support the Goodnight Fellowship, which gets you early access to builds of the Smoke Room, 13 Mile Hike, and their sort of roguelike card game visual novel thing that they're doing. So yeah. Also, in case you want to support the channel, I do have, the channel members. So yeah, channel members, which, supports it. The channel supports me, or you can support me through Ko-fi. Also, Throne, in case, you're feeling generous. But yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.